Welcome back. You know, the hottest topic in China now is, without doubt, Zhou Yongkang. He's China's former domestic security chief and has been placed under investigation. China's state-owned Xinhua News Agency says Zhou will be quizzed over serious disciplinary violations, of course without giving any further details. The 72-year-old Zhou retired from the Politburo Standing Committee in 2012 and is now the first member of that committee to be investigated for corruption and abuse of power. Now, Chai-Ching magazine says his 42-year-old son, Zhou Bin, a rich investor, by the way, has also been arrested for involvement in illegal business operations. Over the past few days, Chinese media outlets have widely reported Zhou's humble family background, his political career, and his powerful social connections. Well, now to hear what's being said in the online community, let's join our researcher Esther Deng in the newsroom. Thanks a lot for joining us, Esther. Now, first off, what were net users' first reactions to hearing reports that Zhou Yongkang would be investigated?
Well, huge numbers of discussions began immediately the news reports were released. And based on what I've seen, the majority of net users feel quite excited. QQ.com, a popular web portal, conducted a survey asking people, how do you view Zhou Yongkang's investigation? So far, more than 160,000 people have responded, with 88% saying they felt very happy that Zhou is finally being investigated. And many posters praise what they see as the Chinese authorities' determination to fight corruption. For example, this poster says, "Well, we've heard of anti-corruption for so long. Finally, we're seeing a huge step forward." And this anonymous poster comments on QQ.com. "Although we've heard plenty of rumors and speculations for months that Zhou had been targeted for investigation, we still doubted officials at his level would be investigated. From his story, we can see the authorities' determination to crack down on corruption." And as you mentioned, the Chinese media have released reports detailing how Zhou and his family have built their huge business and political empires over the past few years. That's left many posters quite shocked. Like 我是祖国的小奇葩 from Beijing, who comments, "I've seen lots of features online, and I have to say Zhou's social connections are really complicated and powerful."
You know what? Chinese media has devoted a lot of time and space to Zhou's story. What are net users, though, saying about the way Chinese media is reporting that story?
Well, first I have listened to this take posted on QQ.com. It's a little sarcastic in that for such a big story, all media carried the same short comment. It was China's state-owned Xinhua News Agency which first released the report in less than 70 words. And then over 1 hour later, China's national broadcaster CCTV reported the Xinhua piece on its flagship news show, 新闻联播. And later, People's Daily reposted the Xinhua piece on its front page and also published an 800-word editorial. And then came local newspapers, most of which printed the Xinhua report as well as the People's Daily editorial. But this poster has praise for one media outlet. Caixin Media has been no doubt the biggest winner this time. It has been prepared for more than half a year for the topic and published more than 60,000 words in featured reports on Zhou immediately after Xinhua reported the investigation. And it said that Caixin's website crashed because of the huge number of visits.
Now, another thing is that Zhou isn't referred to as a comrade anymore in Chinese reports. What does that mean to net users?
Well, plenty of net users have noticed this, and actually Chinese media have highlighted this aspect as well. And based on what I've seen, posters point out the omission of comrade here means a lot. First, listen to Ren Jianming, who comments on Sina.com.cn. If it's still at the period of taking evidence and it hasn't been decided yet whether a person will be removed from the Communist Party of China, then they should still be called a comrade. Now, Zhou isn't being called a comrade anymore. That means the investigation into him has more or less finished and he's seriously violated the party disciplines. What happens to him next is to be expelled him from the Communist Party. And this poster named Yang Xiaojun can't agree more, commenting, "Although it hasn't been officially announced that Zhou will be expelled from the party, he's not considered a member of it anymore. And currently, his case is still within the party and hasn't gone through judicial procedures, yet so few decisive conclusions can be made. But one thing is for sure, the authorities have collected enough evidence about his corruption.
And finally, anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yes, I've seen so many posters who are calling for the anti-corruption campaign to go further. Listen to 夜空中最亮的星, who says, I really hope the anti-corruption campaign will go further and not just stop here. And 叶飞翔 has this to say, I just want to ask, when will the anti-corruption campaign go to the county level? Finally, I'd like to wrap up with this take from 忆西思黄昏. The probe into Zhou Yongkang indeed gives us ordinary people confidence in this administration and the whole country. But besides cracking down on corruption, lots of other bad social phenomena should also be banned, like prostitution, fraud, etc. Only in that way can China prosper.
All right, thanks, Esther. That was China Take researcher Esther Deng with some views on the investigation into China's former top security chief.